Laila Ali told me to build my brand, a good brand, and a brand that I want to represent and stand for. And she said, have good people behind me who I trust.
So this whole idea.
Oh my God. Hey, I see why y'all told me to watch the full clip. Layla is kind of cooking Claressa Shields in terms of like setting the record straight. And this thing is called Let the Record Show Part 1. That's not even, I don't know if there's going to be other parts to this, but she kind of cooking. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Yeah. We are back. Part 2. Now, I put out part 1. Laila Ali responded to Claressa Shields, and I used a snippet of the dialogue from Laila Ali. But some of you guys enjoyed my first video, reached out to me and said, yo, Ego, you got to watch the whole YouTube video she did because she really exposed Claressa Shields. And I didn't. As of me recording the video, I didn't. So we are back up in this thing. And you guys enjoy part 1. We got to go over part 2. Let's get unpacked. Let the Record Show by Laila Ali.
There has been a whole lot of talk about the possibility of me making a comeback to boxing. And people have had a lot to say, but I have not addressed it until now. And I know everyone wants to know the answer to the question, will I be coming back? And I promise you, I'm going to give you that answer. But first, I have got to address the lies and the fake narrative that's been created years ago. Now, someone's gotten way too comfortable dragging my name and even using my father's name to get attention and clout. Now, in case you haven't heard it, her story is that I didn't support her and I didn't pass the torch because of my jealousy and envy over her accomplishments in boxing. She says that I disrespected her and I started talking about knocking her out simply because I was bitter that she's outdone me. I've seen a lot of the comments. Many of you have good discernment and understand what's real.
Dang. So right off the rip, she started the video cooking and saying that Claressa Shields started this narrative that she was jealous.
Really going on here, while others have believed her lies over the years or have formed an opinion without having all the facts. Now, originally, I wasn't even going to give this my time or attention because I really don't engage with people who thrive off of negativity, drama, and buffoonery. But I'm not about to let someone with bad character continue running freely, dragging my name without accountability.
That's not going to happen.
Come on now, listen. Laila Ali is just Muhammad Ali's daughter. And
no, come on, we ain't gonna do that.
No, that is right.
Come on, Layla can rumble though.
And Wolf would have knocked Laila Ali out. You know, she would have knocked Layla oh so pretty ass out.
So this right here is the consequence. Now, I have been busy working on other projects that required all of my time and focus, which is why I'm just now saying something. But honey, I have made the time to address this. So today, the bad guy ain't getting away. Now let's hit rewind because we really need to see what's happened over the years, what got us here. Now I'm not about to do the whole he say, she say thing, so let me show you some receipts.
Hey, hold on. Hey, hold on. I ain't even gonna front, no disrespect, but Miss Laila Ali's voice is sexy. I ain't even gonna front. I don't know what that accent is or what's going on. But I like her voice. She got a good voice. But the reason I'm laughing is because she's really trying to gather Claressa Shields up. Like, there was no intro. Like, there was no delay or like this long. I ain't gonna front. I've been on YouTube making online content for years. And to be honest, Laila Ali, she's doing better than a lot of YouTubers in the fact that like you ever go to like a YouTube tutorial and they're trying to show you how to do something on Instagram, how to blah, 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 how to block somebody. And then there's this long, drawn out, long-winded spiel about how you got to do it. And you're like, man, get to the thing. She didn't do that. She just jumped right into the mix and was like, here's what it is. I got some receipts. And now y'all know Boxingego be about them receipts. Because a lot of people bump gum, but they don't show receipts. So we're going to see what receipts that she's showing. Let's go.
Made the time to address this.
She said she made the time.
The bad guy ain't getting away.
She said the bad guy
Now
ain't
let's hit
getting away.
rewind because we really need to see what's happened over the years. What got us here? Now I'm not about to do the whole he say, she say thing. So let me show you some receipts. I first met her in 2012 when she was invited on stage to stand next to me when I gave my father his Liberty Medal. At some point, she reached out, started asking me for advice, wanted to know if she should go to the Olympics a second time or go pro. She would also call me and let me know when she was fighting. Now, at the time, I was one of the hosts of We Need to Talk, an all-female sports commentary show that still airs on CBS. I asked the producers if we could do a story on her. They agreed. So I got on a plane, flew to Colorado, and did a full sit-down interview with her. Now, this is just a shortened version of the 6-minute piece that aired on CBS in 2016. 21-year-old
and she been bad.
Claressa Shields is as confident as her right hand is powerful.
Hey, I'm not finna show this for. Okay, so she did a whole sit down. I'm not gonna show this because I don't know what CBS is on, and it might be copyrighted.
Struggles that I had to overcome, or anything that I was upset.
So she told you what it is. But Claressa Shields on the show, a young Claressa Shields on the show. Per Laila Ali says she got her on the show.
These young girls coming up, you know, we got 9-year-olds now. And
she said young girls coming up. She don't look like she hating though. I mean, I'm gonna go back and watch it. But again, for this video, and to be honest, I don't want my video to be too long by putting all this.
10-year-olds, and they're inspired by people like Claressa.
See, she's showing receipts. She said they're inspired by people like Claressa. Don't sound like she's hating on Claressa.
Now, as you can see, I was genuinely rooting for her. I gave her praise. I gave her a spotlight. When she asked for advice, I gave her valuable branding advice and boxing advice so she could have long-term success in and outside of the ring. I told her about the challenges that I faced fighting at 168, where there was limited competition, and I suggested that if she decided to turn pro, she should consider going down in weight, somewhere around 148, where she would have more competitive challenges. I told her she should hire a nutritionist, trim off that excess body fat, and get into elite.
Why she put that picture up though?
I pointed her in the right direction, and I had high hopes for her. Whether she decided to turn pro or not, I felt like her future was bright if she played her cards right. But of course, at the time, I was not aware of her divisive, vindictive, and malicious nature. And I know those are strong words, but they actually fit. This girl has created a pattern. It's been directed towards many people time and time again.
Oh, she's showing receipts?
Now, before we started our interview in Colorado, she said to me, "You're the name people say when it comes to women's boxing. You're the face they know. I want that to be me." Now, looking back after everything that's unfolded, it seems pretty calculated now. Like she was waiting for the right moment, the right excuse to finally do what she'd already made up her mind to do. I mean, that's how it feels now. She told me she saw me as the face of women's boxing, and she told me that she wanted my spot. And she's been on a mission to ruin my reputation ever since, simply because she heard me make a comment that was not about her and she took it personal. Fast forward to 2018, I was promoting my cookbook, Food for Life, and went on The Breakfast Club, a national show with millions of listeners. I did a 36-minute interview, and when the topic of boxing came up, I actually mentioned her and made positive comments. Then much later into the interview, I was asked about the possibility of a comeback.
Would you ever get back in the ring just for fun?
You still train?
I stay training.
Yeah, so she said, I remember this interview. I remember this. So she's saying that everything was fine and dandy, and Claressa Shields said she wanted her spot. And again, I'm about to put this up so you guys can hear it, but not infringe on anybody's copyright.
Got you.
Yeah, I got a little baby 6-pack right now.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I have a heavy bag hanging in my. I just turned 40.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
No.
I know. I just turned 40. I can't believe it either. And because I think of my healthy lifestyle, the fact that I train all the time, I can pretty much do anything I wanted to. I don't think there's anyone there for me right now that would actually give me a good challenge.
How did you and your husband argue? Because he can't, usually they say, you can say something slick, but with you, you can't say that slickness.
You was on the Food Network's Chopped.
Yes.
And you won.
I did a couple times.
So what brings you more joy, winning in the ring or winning in the kitchen?
I just like to win, period. Definitely boxing is my first love, and cooking is something that I'm super passionate about.
Gotcha.
It'll be a part of my life forever. I'm not somebody who sits back and complains about things. I think everything
so far I
happens
haven't
in due
heard nothing
time.
bad.
You got Claressa Shields now, who's an Olympic champion. She's a young black girl, came out of Flint, Michigan, lived a hard life, went through a lot. She went to the Olympics, won twice. Women's boxing wasn't in the Olympics when I fought. She actually fights at the weight class I fought in. And she's doing great. Women's boxing is getting some good attention. Now remember, at the time, we were on good terms. She was reaching out to me and referring to me as Big Sis. But this was her response.
I watched the Breakfast Club video with Laila Ali. I have so much respect for her. And I like her. I actually call her my big sis, but it was so many shots thrown. Like, if y'all really paid attention, her saying, oh, there's not nobody good enough at 168, my weight class, that could give her a challenge when I'm the number one in my weight class. And, I'm just like, nah. And, I just feel like, she gave props where it's due, but, she also spoke on how, what I'm doing for women's boxing is great, but it's not great enough for her. When it's like, we got two different goals and sets in life. Me winning 2 Olympic gold medals is just the beginning. Even when she was boxing, she never fought on Showtime, HBO. I fought the main event on Showtime. I don't know how many times now. Fastest woman to win a world title. I did it in 4.
Right now, I gotta pump the brakes. I am not picking sides. I don't do that. I mean, they can watch. This is a free video, public domain. People can think whatever they want. I'm just being real. It's not my beef. It's not my war. However, being like the voice of reason in boxing and the mediator, so far, Laila Ali has backed up what she said. And it seems to me that Claressa Shields jumped out the window and almost provoked this hostile wherever they're at right now, because Laila Ali is given a timeline. So you can argue, like a person could argue, oh, but Ego, she's telling her side of the story. So, what if it's not the truth? That's fine and dandy, but you can only fabricate to a certain extent when you're showing video clips and receipts to match the timeline. Like, for example, if the cops want you and they feel that you shot somebody and they're looking for you, you could give them an alibi, but you like, hey, I was at work at that time. They're going to go to your job and your alibi needs to check out. We reviewed tapes and surveillance tape at your job. We didn't see you on the premises. We don't have you logging in and out. We don't have your punch in and punch out. So your alibi doesn't check out. You see what I'm saying? So anybody could give an alibi. But to have an alibi given and then have it corroborated or proven, that's something different. So with this scenario with Laila Ali, she's showing you receipts. This is what I said. Breakfast Club, interview, bow. Here's what Claressa Shields responded with, bow. And then when I'm listening to this, Claressa Shields is like, she gave some props, but not really. She ain't really like, she's an accomplished woman and she was promoting her cookbook, she said. The interview really wasn't about you. And then when she did mention you, she didn't mention your name on some ill stuff. Like, she didn't say da. She said, I don't know about coming back. She just said in the interview, whenever that interview was done, she was like, I'm 40 or 41 years old. She said one of the two, right? So I wouldn't have took that no. Like if I was Claressa Shields in this situation, I don't feel like I would have took that as like subbing me or, subliminally dissing me. But apparently this is what kicked it off. So I think Laila is doing a great job of illustrating her side and how this wasn't provoked by her.
He went into Olympic gold medals is just the beginning. Even when she was boxing, she never fought on Showtime, HBO.
See right there.
I fought the main event on Show.
That sound like, I don't want to say insecurity because we know Claressa is very confident, but you don't have nothing to prove. Laila Ali don't have nothing to prove. Y'all both did y'all thing. She was like, she never fought on HBO. She never fought on Showtime. See, to me, that's this Gen Z. Sometimes they be young-minded with it. You know what I mean? Like you have new rappers and they dissing like the older rappers, but the old rappers paved the way for you to even make money and be seen. You know what I mean? So I'm not real big on that. And I feel like if you're like a new rapper, you gotta know the rap roots and hip hop roots to really opine on this stuff. You know what I mean? And Claressa Shields is saying like she didn't fight on HBO and Showtime. That's because these girls before you were pioneers. Christy Martin, Ann Wolfe, Laila Ali. They were like the founding fathers, the founding mothers of combat sports before Ronda Rousey and before Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor and you and this new crop of combat female, Amanda Nunes and stuff. It was kind of them. So to bring that up, she never fought on HBO. That's because these networks weren't looking at chicks. They weren't looking at the women as like viable, marketable, and sellable. They were looking at like, and there's a lot of people with a lot of old fashioned values throughout this country's history. Some people thought women need to be in the kitchen and shouldn't be able to vote. So that's like some TikTok influencer girl now talking about like, oh, y'all couldn't even vote back in da. Yeah, but it took for the Susan B. Anthony's and the women's suffrage and the people who stood up for women's rights to get there. So you can't really throw shade at that, in my opinion.
So many shots thrown. Like if y'all really
I didn't hear the shots though.
Her saying, "Oh, there's not nobody good enough at 168, my weight class, that could give her a challenge when I'm the number one in my weight class." And I'm just like, nah. And I just feel like she gave props where it's due, but she also spoke on how what I'm doing for women's boxing is great, but it's not great enough for her. When it's like
I never heard that.
We got two different goals and sets in life. Me winning 2 Olympic gold medals is just the beginning.
I never heard from I watched the interview in real time and then seen the clip. I don't ever remember Laila Ali saying what you're doing for women's boxing ain't good or whatever Claressa just said right there.
So many shots thrown. Like if y'all
and I didn't hear these shots, but this part.
really paid attention, her saying, "Oh, there's not nobody good enough at 168, my weight class, that could give her a challenge when I'm the number one in my weight class." And I'm just like, nah. And
this part.
I just feel like she gave props where it's due, but she also spoke on how what I'm doing for women's boxing is great, but it's not great enough for her. When it's like we got two different goals and sets in life. Me winning 2 Olympic gold medals is just the beginning. Even when she was boxing, she never fought on Showtime, HBO.
Unnecessary.
I fought the main event on Showtime. I don't know how many times now. Fastest woman to win a world title. I did it in 4 fights. And yeah, you can say, oh, the competition isn't there, and this girl wasn't that. But like I did it up in 4 fights, and so the girls that Laila Ali fought wasn't that great either. I mean, like, I'm the best female boxer that I've ever seen, and if Laila Ali wants to come back, we can rumble, we can go. This is not like, oh, I'm gonna step away. Like I respect her and everything, but you're not gonna come back and beat me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this can happen.
What? Hey, Claressa lost me with this interview. The way she's taking it, she just showed you the receipts. I ain't heard none of this stuff like that. She acting like Laila Ali said, "I'll beat you down," and blah blah blah. She was like, "You ain't gonna come back and beat me." She was like, Claressa Shields is doing good for women's boxing, and da 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 da. Like, I didn't hear none of this stuff that Claressa is saying she heard. Y'all let me know in the comment section.
Happen. You know, I just don't like the disrespect. And this is my last video too about this. You know, I never used her name to try to be like, you know, try to call her out of retirement. It's basically
You could tell this is young Claressa because she said you know a lot.
like she talking about she come out of retirement. She just gonna beat me if she decided to.
Now, of course,
When did she say any of this? When did she say I'll come out of retirement and beat you? She just see Claressa kind of contradicted herself. See, I gotta keep it real. That's what I've always done on my channel. I gotta keep it real. Just I'm look, and again, I don't have a side. You guys can believe and try to make shift and whatever and start drama. I'm telling you what I feel. I treat this like a judge. Like, I don't know the plaintiff. I don't know the defendant. I'm just hearing both sides and telling you what I think. Here's the part that's not making sense for me. First of all, the Breakfast Club interview with Laila Ali is still up. You guys can go listen to it in its entirety. I didn't hear Claressa Shields being dissed and all this extra stuff she was talking about. That's one. Two, in Claressa Shields, her like social media live responding to it, she felt a type of way, which was apparent. And she said that Laila Ali said there's nobody that can challenge her and come back to the sport. There's like no one worthy of coming back to the sport because nobody can see her, right? And then she was like, and I'm number one at 168, my weight class. So on one hand, Claressa is saying that Laila Ali dissed her by saying that everyone's easy work and she can come back and like easily beat people. That's what she's alleging. But then if you listen towards the end of it, of what she's saying
that I've ever seen, and you know, if Laila Ali wants to come back, we can rumble, we can go. You know, this is not like, oh, I'm gonna step away. Like I respect her and everything, but you know, you're not gonna come back and beat me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this can happen. You know, I just don't like the disrespect. And this is my last video too about this. You know, I never used her name to try to be like, you know, try to call her out of retirement. It's basically like she talking about she come out of retirement. She just gonna beat me if she decided to.
Now, of course, I didn't.
I don't get that. I don't get that. I definitely didn't get
respond to this, but I noted it. For someone who hardly had any experience as a professional boxer and who was supposedly looking up to me, for her to think that I would even call her name in a conversation about me fighting or making a comeback was silly to me, especially since I had literally told her that I retired from boxing because I didn't feel inspired or challenged anymore by the level of competition that was available to me. We had that talk. So I learned a lot about her character and her mindset. She took what I said out of context and made it all about her. I decided I was no longer going to invest time or energy into her. But she, on the other hand, she took it straight to social media, started comparing her boxing skills to mine, making negative comments about me, and pitting herself against me in a fight. A year later, I was doing press for my show Homemade Simple on OWN, so I went on Sway Universe, another syndicated national show with millions of listeners. We were talking, he asked me about boxing, he asked me about her. I said positive comments as usual. Then he plays one of her visits.
Are you watching women's boxing?
Hey, I am not going to hold you. Laila Ali is cooking and she's showing receipts. You got to respect it. I always respect the receipts because people can say, oh, this person said this. It's social media. There's videos and cell phones. Prove it.
Boxing today?
Oh, yeah.
You like Claressa?
I do. I think that she's a talented fighter and she has the opportunity right now. The stage is set. So now she just has to kind of do her thing. I
Talk about Homemade Simple, airing Saturdays, 9 a.m. on the OWN network. Okay, it's an incredible show. I had Claressa here, right? I asked her who does she think would win and you against you in your prime and her now. And this is what she said.
She not cut like me. She don't take the challenges. Like, she didn't fight against Ann Wolf. I fight against the best and beat the best. And if Laila Ali was to come out of retirement, I beat her too.
That's not anything I haven't heard before. First of all, she's supposed to feel like she's the greatest.
Absolutely.
But just because you think you are doesn't mean you are.
Okay.
I like to support and uplift people. And I think that on your way up, just do your best not to disparage those that have come before you. First of all, she could never beat me.
Okay.
Let me just get that straight right now.
You want to get that straight, Laila?
Let's get that straight right now.
Okay.
And not simply because she's not strong enough, okay, because I would definitely knock her out, but because she's not talented enough to beat me. It's a sweet science to boxing. The reason why you have not been able to knock out the opponents that you've already faced, I can totally see it. Why? But maybe if you would have been a little more respectful, and I'm not talking about thinking you can beat me and call that, do all that. I'm talking about just trying to, she didn't do this, she didn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't respect her as a boxer. I only respect her as a businesswoman. I've heard her say that before. I was always there for her because she's a young black girl from Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, Flint.
And I want to help uplift her because that's the Ali way. I am successful in so many areas outside of boxing. Boxing is not what defines me. There's always going to be another girl. But I tell you what, when I offered her to spar me, that definitely was a check right there to see. Let me see what kind of heart she has. You should come whoop me just for bragging rights. And she didn't take me up on that offer. I said, okay. And let's put this in context. I'm only talking about this because you're asking me. She's done a ton of interviews since then, and she's always saying I disrespected her. Now you've seen what.
Hey, yo, and we got to hear, I want to hear Claressa Shields respond to these receipts. I really do. Because I didn't even know about that. She's saying that I offered to spar Claressa and she ain't taking me up on the thing. But, I mean, that last clip, pretty much the same thoughts, but a little bit tricky because the media sometimes instigates this stuff. Like, he said, like Sway, he from the Bay Area like me. He said, I had Claressa on the show and asked her about who would win in the fight with you. And then he played the tape and he's like, listen, so then you seen Laila Ali whole like dynamic change. And then she starts saying it. So that's a little bit of kind of instigating. And we see that all the time in boxing and in media in general, where you'll have the fighter and then the fighter would just win a fight and they'll be like, oh, so-and-so talk bad about you on Twitter. What do you think? You know what I mean? It's kind of like trying to ruffle their feathers. These are fighters. These are prize fighters. All of them have like egos and, a little bit, no pun intended, a little bit crazy just to even be a fighter. It's a hard way to make your coin. You know what I mean? So that was a little bit of a setup, if you will. But Claressa Shields went in and said, I'll beat her. She can't beat me, blah, blah, blah. And Laila Ali responded like, I'll knock her out. At that point, it's fair game because Sway is playing a tape from Claressa Shields and they weren't Sway's words. They were Claressa's words. But it does make it like, a little bit instigating, just to frame it like that. But, it is what it is.
She's been referring to. So she felt justified to go on a tirade. And of course, she's twisted the story over the years and taken my comments out of context. Now, according to her, I just started talking about knocking her out just out of jealousy. Now you've seen what I said, what she said, how this started, and you can see she pitted herself against me in a fight. Now, I know some of this younger generation may not be familiar with me, but I've never been one to just talk about things I can't do. When I said that I would knock her out back in 2019, it wasn't any different than what I've said to anyone who's challenged me in the past. You can go back and look at tape on me. That was not just talk.
Hey, yo, she said, you better check the tape. She said, oh, dog, why you keep about my tape?
For me, it's what I did. TKO, KO,
okay.
It didn't matter. I was going to stop you. It wasn't going.
Oh, they showing clips. Hey, yo, she cooking.
Directly, and we had some serious conversations about me making a comeback. Now, of course, she was never even involved in any of those discussions. Then COVID happened. You know how that was, and it all went away, and I left it alone. Now here is just a small glimpse of the narrative that she's been building over the years.
But I feel like Laila Ali has always been kind of envious of me. I'm just so accomplished in women's boxing, and she never got that due diligence and that respect. So to see me getting it kind of pisses her off. So you look at who she fought. Her biggest test was freaking Vonda Ward and Christy Martin. And Christy Martin weighed in at 140 pounds, and Laila Ali was 160. Like, how are you making matches like that? So Laila Ali is a hater. That's it. Nothing but her being a hater and her being, envious of my success and what I've done for women's boxing. And she feels like she deserves that credit because everybody kind of give it to me now. And I think that she's like, but, I'm an Ali daughter and I boxed before her and I'm 24-0 with 21 knockouts. And she kind of, want people to keep acknowledging her. She's retired.
She's retired.
And
She's
been
probably
retired for a long time. 43. I hate when somebody else try to take somebody else's shine, somebody else's attention. It's like, she's, nobody was trying to take her attention when it was her time. Undisputed champion. She's never been undisputed. And people are comparing me to her and she gets offended. When it was like, to me, I thought it was a good comparison because I feel like I box way better than her. And for them to be saying that me and her are equal or whatever, she should have been happy because of that, because they're giving her more props on her skills, which I feel like she didn't really have that much. But, whatever. Yeah, we had Laila Ali.
Yeah, she's showing receipts.
Respect. But she can't do for women's boxing what I'm doing. I'm going to be different because I'm going to give my blessing or I'm going to let a girl take her blessing. And what that means, I'm going to fight the young girls coming up. And if they beat me, now they're the best. That's how you do it. My advice, Laila, is you will look a lot better and people will stop calling you a hater and calling you jealous and old and bitter. If you actually stop hating, bro, you will look better if you was to support the black girl from Flint who made it out the trenches to where she at now. You will look a lot better. She wants to try to make it still seem like she's somewhat relevant in women's boxing. People give her props about how she built up women's boxing, and I just don't feel the same way. What really did you do for women's boxing? Like, you let it die. You let it die for 20 years, and then I had to come and put in all this extra work to get it to where it is now. I think that wasn't fair, and I don't think that she was as big as a pioneer in women's boxing as she thinks she was, because I would never do that. I would pass the torch.
There are hundreds and hundreds of women who have participated in the sport of boxing over the years.
I don't know. Claressa Shields keeps saying that Laila Ali is hating, but the way Laila compartmentalizes her thoughts, speaks eloquent, pretty absolute with her wording. I'm not getting that vibe. Claressa Shields, and again, I'm not saying nothing bad about her, but I feel like Claressa Shields is on go mode. Like, she's had to prove herself in the gym. She had to spar with dudes, whatever. So she's like on go mode and on competitive mode. And she talked like that. She talked brash, but she's attacking a legend and the daughter of a legend at that, and a pioneer. And to be honest, it's like before I was doing online content, right? I've had regular, 9-to-5 jobs or whatever. And as a manager, I could always reason with the customer and de-escalate the situation. But then there were certain employees and they would have a customer with a problem. Granted, the customer maybe comes in a little hot-headed because their appliance wasn't delivered or this and that, right? Whatever the circumstance was. But you could still de-escalate the situation. Everybody's happy. Nobody gets threatened or whatever. But certain employees would almost always guarantee, instead of de-escalating the situation, they would infuriate the customer worse. And then now I got to deal with it. If you know what I mean. Anybody who's at a job, you'll know that. Or a job where you manage people, right? And then it'd be certain employees where they said something crazy to the customer, and then the customer went off, and then I get called, and then now I got an even more mad customer because instead of just trying to figure out what the customer needed, get them up out of here, make it right, blah, blah, blah. You then turn the customer into an irate lunatic. You know what I mean? And to be honest, in this scenario, Claressa Shields is the person, the employee who is mouthing off to the customer who's already mad or whatever and escalating the situation from everything that I've heard on this. Laila Ali she was like, Claressa's talented. And it sounded like Claressa felt a type of way that she didn't announce her the same way. And she keeps saying she's jealous. But I said in my last video, deep down inside, I don't know if there's more to this because people sometimes let it slip out. And Claressa Shields said she ducked Ann Wolf. That's fine. Whatever. You say Laila Ali ducked Ann Wolf. But then she said Ann Wolf would knock out Miss Oh So Pretty Laila Ali. To me, that was telling because it was so unnecessary to add that in. Like you could have just said Ann Wolf would stretch Laila Ali. But then the fact that you added the Miss Oh So Pretty, you're bringing up her looks for no reason. She is pretty for sure. So to me, that sounded like more some girl stuff. You know what I mean? Like I've never heard Terrence Crawford bring up Canelo's looks or Errol Spence or Madrimov's looks or their body type or what, you know what I mean? Like, so that does seem more catty, like some girls, like some stuff a girl might do. You know what I mean? Because the Oh So Pretty to me was kind of unnecessary.
They have all made a contribution in their own.
And then the other thing, she's talking about the women that came before her. That last interview, Claressa was being very like harsh. She's like she's not as much of a pioneer as she thinks she is, and she let women's boxing die. I mean, I can't agree to that, bro. Again, when Christy Martin and Laila Ali and all these girls were fighting Ann Wolf, they weren't cutting the checks the same. There was no social media. There was no OnlyFans. Like, and the reason I'm bringing up OnlyFans is because now I see female boxers and they got OnlyFans too, right? Now I'm not even saying they doing risque, boudoir poses and stuff, but some of them will do an OnlyFans and just show behind the scenes of their training. They didn't have all that type of stuff in the 90s and early 2000s for women's boxing. So to really say the daughter of Muhammad Ali let women's boxing die is insane. Because I remember like Jet magazine or Ebony would have Laila Ali in it or on the cover and stuff. So yeah, and then you said she was big sis earlier. You both agreed to that. And you said you respect her as a businesswoman. So now you're making like she ain't ish, you know what I mean? Like there's no respect the way you're talking.
Own way. We don't need to argue over who's done more. That destructive crab in a barrel mentality is exactly what we don't need in the sport. Here she is on a recent podcast explaining how she's passing the torch and that she has created a blueprint for success, which she is now sharing with other female fighters. She says that the number one thing they need to know is how to build their brand.
I actually promote a woman fighter, and I'm giving her all the jewels and stuff that I know, so she can get her big paydays too. It's a blueprint now on how you make $1 million, even if you don't have the gold medals. The biggest blueprint is build your brand.
Oh, she must have forgot years ago she recorded this and said that I gave her the piece of advice that she is now referring to as the most valuable piece of information that you need to be successful. But supposedly I didn't support her and I didn't want to pass the torch.
Laila Ali told me to build my brand, a good brand, and a brand that I want to represent and stand for. And she said, have good people behind me who I trust.
So this whole idea...
Oh my God. Hey, I see why y'all told me to watch the full clip. Laila is kind of cooking Claressa Shields in terms of like setting the record straight. And this thing is called Let the Record Show Part 1. That's not even, I don't know if there's going to be other parts to this, but she kind of cooking. Claressa says she got a female under her and you got to build your brand and make $1 million even if you don't got the gold medal, blah, blah, blah. Laila showed the clip. I told you I'm all about receipts. She showed the clip of where Claressa admitted on tape, on camera, that Laila Ali showed her the way. So yeah, this doesn't look great for Claressa Shields. Talented fighter, great fighter, accomplished, undisputed, quote, all that. But this stuff don't look good because that was cookage. Now the onus is on Claressa Shields to retort and rebuttal some of this, because Laila Ali, her place looked nice, she dressed nice, she got the little lav mic, and she just been cooking. There's no detours. She's not even making it personal. She's not saying Miss Oh So Pretty. She's not calling you ugly. She's not really even calling you out your name, nothing. She's just saying, you said this, boom, clip. I said this, boom, clip. I got you on my show when I was a talk show host and interviewed you. I supported you here at the Breakfast Club. I was cool with you here. You were calling me Big Sis. She just kind of laying down the law. Lay down the law, call me ground law, right? And none of it is really depicting her as, oh, she hates on Claressa Shields, like Shields was saying in these interviews.
That she started about me being jealous because of her accolades and her surpassing me. Do you realize that for years, fans have believed that there's so many fighters that are better than me? I mean, they have more titles than me. Multi-million-dollar fights are happening, more money than I ever made, more money than she's making. So I guess if I'm supposedly jealous of her, I must be hating on them too, right? Nope, I actually celebrate other women's
Katie
success.
Taylor.
I have relationships with those women. We have mutual respect. It's all love.
Oh, wow.
She's the only one who decided to make herself my opposition. And she has created this drama,
Christy
and she's
Martin,
kept it going for
Amanda
the past
Serrano,
8 years.
Holly Holm.
People came to know her because she kept calling out my name. She's obsessed with me, and she literally cannot keep the name Laila Ali out her mouth.
Oh, Alicia Baumgart.
There are people who will say she's confident.
Hey, Laila Ali. She kind of cooking, bro. She said, I should be jealous because Katie Taylor and Serrano, they were on Netflix twice. So you know they made money. Amanda Serrano would be crying, talking about, oh, Jake Paul, he believed in me, and I got my first million with Jake Paul, blah, blah, blah. So she was like, why wouldn't I be jealous of everybody? And she's showing pictures with Serrano, Katie Taylor, and she is giving back. Man, I see why y'all wanted me to watch The Fool.
She talks trash. That's what fighters do. Yes, fighters talk. Nobody did it better than my father and me, and we backed it up.
Facts.
I've never had a problem with the fighter saying they could beat me or that they think they're better than me. That's expected. I don't consider that disrespect. But what I do have a problem with is a liar or someone who intentionally tries to disparage me in order to gain visibility and respect. As I mentioned in my interview on Sway, about 8 years ago, I offered her sparring during one of our phone conversations. I was like 40, 41. It was just to give her some work. Well, she changed that subject and never took me up on the sparring. So when I mentioned it on Sway, there was a lot of comments from the public because people were surprised that she wouldn't have taken that opportunity. Now, can you imagine if she and I were to get in the ring and spar back then? You know, there would have been camera phones, it would have been recorded. She would have proof of what she could do and vice versa. So I guess after the feedback and comments that she saw, she felt the need to take it to social media and put out an excuse.
I don't sway that if I was so tough that I would have sparred her for brownie points. I am a 2-time Olympic champ. Only thing that matters to me is what happened outside of practice. She talking about practice. Take the Ellen Iverson talking about practice. I don't care about sparring nobody. I'll get in there and spar and work with anybody. All I care about is fighting. But like I said, she don't really care about women's boxing.
So that was her response. Why sparring? It doesn't mean anything. But many years later, she comes up with a whole new story.
And the thing is, she keeps saying, one time she asked me to spar. Let me tell you this. Jason Crutchfield was my eyes and my ears back then because I was naive. I don't pay attention to stuff. Jason had already told me back then she feels some type of way. Coming in, gold medals and doing your thing, he was like, she feels some type of way. But she's still embracing you though. And I said, okay, whatever. But I had mad love for her though. So it was like, the closest thing to Muhammad Ali is Laila Ali. So I love this girl. You know what I'm saying? And looked into her, took her advice and everything. He said, when we going down here because she had appointed me to give Muhammad Ali the Liberty Medal in Philadelphia. Now that when she asked me to spar, I said, you want to spar me? And that's when it was more of like a, dang, I hate that coach was right about you. I'm like, okay, well, we can spar when you want to spar. I got my stuff in the car. She like, no, it ain't like that. I'm more about, let's not talk about it, let's be about it.
Now, you know that was a flat out lie. We know that if that were true, she would have said it years ago when it first was mentioned that she wouldn't spar me. There is absolutely no way she would have passed up the chance to tell everyone that she called my bluff and I backed down. Now, can you imagine if she and I were to get in the ring and spar back then? You know, there would have been camera phones, it would have been recorded. She would have proof of what she could do and vice versa. I did an interview with Andre for his podcast too, before I had a chance to see her.
Hey, Layla is going ham. This is unbelievable.
Her episode. And if you go watch her interview, everything's I think this, somebody told me that, no facts. I need you to understand how deep this goes with this girl. Now I know she's on a constant search for validation. She needs to feel important, and it's obvious she's fixated on me. But watch how she sits on The Breakfast Club, the same show she saw me on back in 2018 when I said I wasn't making a comeback. She goes on in 2020 after dragging my name for years and acts like she has no idea why I no longer support her or want anything to do with her. Now, she knows The Breakfast Club is a national show with millions of listeners, so she's careful not to say anything negative about me because that wouldn't fit the story she's trying to sell. Instead, she plays it safe so she can position herself as the victim.
Do I want to fight a 41 or 40-year-old Laila Ali? No. I want to actually her embrace me. I embrace her, and we build women's boxing to the place where it's supposed to be at. But I don't think she sees that vision. Like she doesn't show me any kind of support. Like I see her all the time comment on this other boxer girl page, Katie Taylor, and always telling her congrats and everything. But then with me, it's like she don't show any kind of respect or acknowledgement. And I'm a black girl just like she is, who came up hard, and I have to been making my way forever. Like I made my own way. I wasn't handed anything. Just about supporting each other. You know what I'm saying? But
I wonder why she wouldn't though. Like, did you say something about her back in the day?
See,
I just think that
Charlamagne even brought
in
it
boxing,
up.
she feel like she never got her fair share. I feel like she never got to the point where she wanted to get to. And people recognize Laila Ali, but they always try to say like, oh, she only was big because of her dad, and they don't really give her props on her skills. I'm not one of those people. And then some people say that she didn't fight Ann Wolf.
Oh,
but
hey, I ain't go front. I feel like, to be honest, the more I listen to it, it really sounds like Claressa's in the wrong here, because she said she didn't get her just due. A lot of people did. They noticed her from her daddy, and she just said, I didn't like. A lot of people, you know, they nepotism. They just bring up her dad, and they don't acknowledge her for her skill. Listen again.
Respect or acknowledgement, and I'm a black girl just like she is.
Watch.
Who came up hard, and I have to been making my way forever. Like I made my own way. I wasn't handed anything. Just
Not
about
this.
supporting each other. You know what I'm saying? But
No, not this.
I wonder why she wouldn't though. Like, did
Watch
you
right
say
here.
something about her back in the day?
I just think that in boxing, she feel like she never got her fair share.
This
I
part
feel
right
like
here.
she never got to the point where she wanted to get to. And people recognize Laila Ali, but they always try to say like, oh, she only was big because of her dad, and they don't really give her props on her skills. I'm not one of those people.
And they don't really give her props for her skills. And then she said, I'm not one of those people. But then earlier in this video, because we just went over the clip, she said she's not really a pioneer like that. And she's not really all that skilled to me. She said that. Go watch my video again, because we listened to the clip, and there's a clip where Claressa Shields says that she didn't do as much for women's boxing. She let it die. She's not as big a pioneer as she think, blah, blah, blah. But she also said that she's not skilled like that. But then now she's saying that she didn't get acknowledged for her skills, and I'm not one of those people.
And people recognize Laila Ali, but they always try to say like, oh, she only was big because of her dad.
And she just said on The Breakfast Club, a lot of people only recognize her because of her dad, but she just did a brand new fresh interview with Gilly, right? The $1 million worth of game. And then she said that that's Muhammad Ali's daughter. That's all she is. But then on the Breakfast Club, she making it sound like other people are the ones that only recognize her. But that's literally what you said after this interview, that she was just Muhammad Ali's daughter. And that's also earlier in this video.
I wonder why she wouldn't, though. Like, did you say something about her back in the day?
I just think that in boxing, she feel like she never got her fair share. I feel like she never got to the point where she wanted to get to. And people recognize Laila Ali, but they always try to say like, oh, she only was big because of her dad. And they don't really give her props on her skills. I'm not one of those people. And then some people say that she didn't fight Ann Wolf. But me being a woman fighter, now I realize that it's hard to make big fights with other big women. It really is. So think about it. Back then, when it wasn't a lot of money, wasn't TV exposure, I kind of can see why her and Ann Wolf didn't fight. But
then she's saying she ducked Ann Wolf on Gilly's podcast later. I don't know. It's not looking so great.
Full story is that she was scared of Ann Wolf, and Ann Wolf would have knocked her out.
On the Breakfast Club, Laila Ali's right. She is being more PC. She literally said it was harder, no TV deals, they weren't investing in women, everything I said earlier in this video. But later on, she did an interview with Gilly and Wallow more recently, and she said, you just Muhammad Ali's daughter. But then on the Breakfast Club, this interview that she's playing, she said that I feel people only recognize her because of Muhammad Ali. But that's what you said. And then now you're saying that it's harder to make the women's fights, the two big women, especially back then. But then you said to Gilly and Wallow, she ducked because Ann Wolf would have knocked out Miss Oh So Pretty Laila Ali. So it is starting to appear more to be a Claressa interpretation issue.
Oh, and that's their story.
3 months later, she takes her mask off and she's back to her usual story.
Well, Ann Wolf, you were a better fighter than her. And I believe that that's where this whole beef started from.
She said she takes her mask off.
Yeah, you know, I spoke on that. She hates whenever your name gets mentioned. She still to this day mentions your name. Say how you were scared of her, how you didn't want to fight her. And I don't believe that for 1 second. And she may have a bigger name, but that's because women's boxing wasn't supported how we are now. If Laila Ali came up in this generation, she would not be known. Nobody would know of her.
That you can't say
I know
that.
for a fact you would have put Laila Ali ass to sleep. So just because you couldn't do it, you know, you didn't have the opportunity because, you know, she didn't want to sign a paper to fight you. I'm letting you know now. I'm going to kick her ass for the both of us. Yeah, we all know Laila does.
Hey, Laila Ali is cooking. I'm sorry. I see why so many people hit me up and said I need to take a deeper look. Okay, she said on the Breakfast Club, I don't want to fight a 41-year-old Laila Ali. And then now she said, Ann Wolf, you were ducked, she ducked smoke. I'll take care of her for you. Huh? It is looking all over the place from Miss Shields, bro.
Ann Wolf, you know that. We don't got to, she know that. Everybody know that. It's literally written, I think, somewhere.
Now, I've seen this before with Ann Wolf, another fighter who used the same playbook. Both of these women have a lot in common in terms of the way they've been able to get visibility for themselves by using my name and making up lies. Since I'm in the season of pulling skirts, I'm gonna go ahead and pull hers too. And I'm gonna do another video on her next. That lie that I would not fight her has been told so many times as if it's a true fact. So I'll be gathering my receipts on her too, since she wants to start talking again. This one is so detached and delusional that she actually praises my father while trying to trash it.
Hey, I'm done. Laila Ali, she just put a whole court case together on Claressa Shields. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, but that was very meticulous. I really enjoyed that. The link will be in the description. Please watch it uninterrupted. I had to give you the ego thoughts, but very eloquent, very systematic and surgical from Laila Ali. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. For more breakdowns like this and boxing studies, subscribe. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.